noticing a lot of the like really intentional little like kind of designs like with your dad like the thorn like this little I don't know if they're thorns like little spikes on all of his like connecting like vines I guess you would call them.
Yeah, yeah, kind of
Yeah.
like thorns was the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm noticing that and then also just like the way that like your mom is like the heart that's kind of connected in a way to like everything. Like is that kind of do you feel like that's kind of the dynamic now as well?
I wanted to jump and say yes. I'll say yes and no.
Hmm.
Like mostly yes. Um, yeah, she is. She's the one who's really connected to everyone, except for my dad. Like their connection's very, very broken. I didn't even put some of the spikes on their thing between them. The little spikes and well, okay, I'll finish that first thought. I'm the only one who's like out of everyone there, I'm actually the only one who's really connected to my dad, and even our connections like kind of has its limits. Like, his connection isn't as ruptured with my brother as it is my mom. There's you can see like there's tiny little flowers on theirs, but like they're kind of small.
Yeah.
Um, whereas mine, the flowers are kind of more there. Like the idea with the little spiky thorns is kind of like a simultaneous, it's like my dad's very intense and protective and anxious and uptight and just very like he has an intensity to him. And so it's kind of like I see these thorns connecting to us as kind of like this protectiveness, like trying to protect us and trying to like keep bad things in the world out from us, but also like the thorns can kind of get pricked in you and cause you hurt and secondhand trauma and fear of the world. Hence the little thorns sticking out of my mom's little heart. So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh.
I don't even know if I answered the question, but yeah,
You did, yeah.
that's what's going
I
on there.
yeah. I noticed you said like
Mhm.
these kind of overlapping like protective like thorns. And I noticed that his are kind of like like enveloping you guys, like you and your brother, whereas your mom's are
Mhm.
a lot more direct and kind of like are connecting to she's like touching your like drawings, like touching you guys in a way, like directly, whereas he is a lot more like kind of like outward. So I thought that was a really interesting like
Yeah.
symbolic kind of thing
I
too.
think it's an important detail that was kind of intentional to make my mom so direct. Like, I just feel like yeah, we're both like my mom's very connected to both of us in a way that my dad, like his love is less of an umbilical cord, kind of like, oh, this like, oh, like my mom's always like, you two are my entire life and you're all I
Oh.
ever, and it's really sweet. But she's like, that's my, like, it's like we feel like for better and for worse, such an extension of her. Whereas my dad, like his love is kind of this, there's this beauty in it kind of being its own wild growth, but also this kind of like, protection too, like for better and for worse. It's like less enmeshed, but also spiky. So,
Yeah. Can you tell
yeah.
me about where like
Mhm.
you feel like you're fitting into this, like your imagery and kind of like just kind of like why you chose to put yourself where you did and kind of the colors and the choices that you made with that?
Totally, yeah. I started with myself,
Of course.
and my brother next to me. Um, yeah, like our without getting super into it, our dynamic was very like gendered growing up, and I feel like I was raised as like such a girl and like have moved into feeling more like gender expansive beyond that. So I think I don't know, like the pink, blue, and yellow just felt really, it just felt like me. I don't know. And then my brother, his is kind of reversed, like being raised as like such a boy, like not to just be really binary. And then there's kind of this pink and these purple sparking off, like kind of it makes sense with his gender, like presentation. I don't know how to describe it. My yellow swirly, my heart, okay, my heart was like kind of connected to my mom. Like you can see my brother has a little heart in his head,
Hmm.
but I feel like that's very much like a certain kind of love that I feel like I've gotten from my mom. And like I feel like I've taken on a similar role. Whereas my brother, like he has that care there, but it's like small and in his brain, like it's much more logical and less like this kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's just different. It's just a different brand, but related. So that was kind of, I don't know, we kind of next to each other, kind of mirroring each other, but like different elements going on. Um, he has the orange. I have the orange from my dad, like in the flowers and stuff on the vines in my hands, and he has it kind of like trapped in his heart. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know. But
I
he
like
has a
how like
connection to my dad, but it's hidden away. Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I just like how you like made so many connections with colors and shapes and like so many little like connections. I'm curious too, like the flowers at the bottom. Does that represent anything to you?
Yeah, you know what? As I wanted to start out with like some grass, kind of this like shared place that we came from and kind of like the environment we grew up when we were very little, I feel like was pretty nurturing and also like a lot of being outside in the yard and plants and stuff. So I kind of started with the grass and then kind of like my dad's flowers orange, my mom's heart red, kind of making those little flowers because back then it felt a lot more kind of like together and cohesive and alive and just, like a softer little meadowy place to be. And then just the water around it. I don't know. It just made sense to me.
Yeah, I love that. I also
Yeah.
love how like your mom is like colored in and very solidified, and your dad